Hello and welcome. I am relationship coach Geralyn St. Joseph. Today we are discussing self-empowerment. Big word, lots of meanings, and little understanding. What is self-empowerment and why should you strive for it? Self-empowerment is all about knowing who you are and being able to understand and follow your own guidance. When you are empowered, you stand on your own, you have independence. That doesn't mean that you don't depend on anybody else, or you don't trust other people. It means that you have the capacity to stand up for yourself, to protect yourself, to set boundaries for yourself, and to walk away if necessary in an abusive situation or a situation that tries to cross your boundaries. What does it mean to be empowered? Why would we use that word instead of like maybe self-actualized or something like that? Well, empowerment is talking about power from the inside out. It's not talking about power that you're getting from outside, like having a weapon or doing anything like that. It's about strengthening your soul and being strong in who you are and knowing what that looks and feels like. It's about knowing when you're out of alignment with yourself. It's about moving forward in faith. And faith is not necessarily having to do with a religion. It has to do with integrity and belief. Some people believe that empowerment means that you have the ability to speak out to other people. But the thing is, when you are truly empowered, you don't feel the need. There's no knee-jerk reaction all the time to get into debates or to try to convince someone to think the way you do. When you are self-empowered, there is a sense of knowing what you know and allowing others to be wherever they are. It's about growth and allowing yourself to grow. Things change. You can be empowered when you're younger, and then as you get older, become disempowered and then become empowered again. At these different stages, different things are happening to you, and you're learning different lessons. And as you integrate those lessons, your empowerment may look a little bit different. Your faith may shift a little bit. You may have lost faith in one thing and gained faith in something else. These are signs of growth. These are not things that you need to feel like you're not being true to yourself with. And if you do feel like you're not being true to yourself because you're not exactly the same when you're 10 years old as when you're 50, that is something to look at. That is a judgment that you're making on yourself. That is unnecessary and unkind. When we are self-empowered, we learn the difference between brutal honesty, integrity, and tact. Integrity means to stand in your truthfulness, to know your truth. When you act in integrity, you are in alignment with your soul and your belief system and who you are as a person. Acting in integrity does not mean that you deliver the brutal truth all the time. When you're delivering truth, it does not need to be brutal. Yes, some people do not listen. And there are some people who you got to be like, whoa, wait a second. This is the way it is, and be very direct and very specific. However, even with people like that, you don't have to be brutal. The brutal truth should be reserved for very, very specific circumstances that do not happen very often at all. Truth should not be painful. It doesn't need to be painful. Truth should empower the other, and it should make you both feel like you're heading in the same direction, or possibly that there's some growth there. And when I say truth, I don't mean that we all have exactly the same beliefs or the same systems that we use for ourselves. Truth is a personal truth. It's knowing who you are and what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do. It's about knowing your boundaries. What are boundaries? Boundaries are places where you will not allow others to cross. And there's different sets of boundaries. So you may have a boundary with a significant other or a parent or a sibling who's very close or a best friend, which is very different than a boundary that you have with a doctor or a teacher or someone else who is not in your inner circle. Those that are really close to you, you allow them to see more of who you are. And as you get further out, it's not necessary for them to see into your deepest depths. Oversharing, not necessary. But who you are is consistent. When you are self-empowered, who you are is consistent no matter who is in the room. So if you find that you're changing to please this one and to please that one, and depending on who's in the room, you are not self-empowered. Does that mean you're not professional? No. What it means is your integrity, regardless of whether you're at home with family or you're out with strangers or you're at work. So if you have a faith system and a belief that there are certain lines you wouldn't cross, like you're not going to help somebody hide the body, and you're not going to hold a secret that is hurtful to someone, things like that. You're not going to cover up for someone who's cheating on their spouse. These are all acts of integrity that you form who you are. So just like you're not going to lie for someone who's cheating on their spouse, in a different situation, you would not lie for someone who is trying to manipulate someone else, selling a car, say, and you know there's something wrong with the car and the person is not letting the person who's purchasing the car know that that's already a problem because they're going to fleece them for the money to fix it. Things like this. That's what integrity is about. It's about knowing who you are at your center. What are your boundaries? Where do you belong? Now, when you say things tactfully, another way to say that is formulating your expression with love in your heart and compassion, considering what the other person is going through or how they're going to take it. You're not a mind reader. You're not going to know how everybody's going to take things. Some people take the most innocuous things and blow them out of proportion. It is not up to you to decide whether or not that's going to happen. However, if you know your audience, you know that there's ways to deliver information so that people feel more comfortable with that information and feel more comfortable with you. When you are delivering information and the energy that you're sending out is loving and kind and compassionate, generally speaking, it is received in a like manner. If you are unconditional in your love for others, the spirit in the universe will show unconditional love for you. Does that mean that you never have problems? No. Problems create growth. Just like when we're trying to create a beautiful diamond out of a diamond in the rough, it needs to be ground and we need to shape it. So our souls are the same way. At our core, we are whole, and acknowledging that and knowing that and owning it is what helps us to become empowered. There are many steps to becoming self-empowered. The first of these is to know who you are, to discover, like, the voices in your head. Not all of those are yours. A lot of those are coming from the subconscious. They're from the past. They're from trauma. They stick around and they tend to be rather loud. But discovering your own voice and being able to use your own voice to express yourself, that is a part of self-empowerment. Recognizing that no is a full sentence and that it's okay for not everybody to be happy, because there's no way to make everyone happy. It doesn't exist. If there's more than two people, you can count on it that somebody is not completely satisfied. It's just the way of the world. And there are some people who use that as a manipulation tool, especially for people who give so much of themselves. So it's something you do need to be careful of. We should strive to be self-empowered, because as we become more self-empowered, we allow those around us to do the same. As we lift ourselves up, it lifts up the people around us, our loved ones, our friends. We become a beacon of light that helps guide the people around us. It helps guide the energy around us. It helps create a better world, a better place. And it helps us to understand our place within it, which gives other people permission to do the same and to be who they are. If we step back and we're open and we allow for our true nature to bubble up to the surface, we are empowering others to do the same. Self-empowerment does not mean that you are in power over someone else. You are empowered from within to without. You are empowered in yourself, so that your empowerment does not depend on someone else's opinion, someone else's favor, somebody else's validation. And it also allows that you don't need to give anybody else validation. We are each our own soul and spirit, and at the same time, we're also connected. And in being connected, what is good for one is good for the rest. So the path to self-empowerment is sometimes windy and can be treacherous at times. However, it is something that is necessary if you are going to come into your fullness in this lifetime, if you're going to be able to really enjoy life as it's meant to be. When you're empowered, your undercurrent becomes joy, not happiness, joy, which is a little bit different. It's fuller, it's more bubbly. It's almost a feeling, a sensation of excitement and being in love that's there very consistently. It doesn't mean that you never are sad or that you never go through anything, but what it means is, in order for you to bounce back into that expression of self, that authentic expression of self, that it doesn't take as long, because your body and your soul is used to being in that space. And because you're used to that, that is your natural way to be, as opposed to being disjointed, which is the way most of us live, or many people live, I should say. When you are self-empowered, there's so much that you can accomplish. You can make so many of your dreams come true. And you can also be a pillar of strength for other people if that is a part of who you are. Not everyone is a leader, and not everyone is a follower. Not everyone is a mathematician, but we all have our own space in the world. And whether you're someone who's homeless or you're the president of the United States, you are important. If you're ready to experience joy as your undercurrent, if you know that you are ready to fully be who you are and show up in the world, let's talk. You can find me at relationshipcoachgsj.com. I have free videos on there, as well as an intro call with me if you are interested in taking things further. It has been a pleasure. My prayer for you is that you choose to become all that you can be this time around. Mahalo. My name is Geralyn St. Joseph. This was our talk about self-empowerment. See you later.